Hi everyone, this is Irek E. You're welcome to my channel. In this tutorial, we are going to be looking at how a furniture element can be constructed from two extrusions that create this entire shape. And the best part is that it is completely parametric, created inside of your family editor, and you can load it into your project. And the beautiful thing is that you can be able to change it. This could be called a bed, whatever, but right inside of your project you could be able to change the dimensions and form a different element out of the same shape. This 3-seater cushion, depending on the dimension, you could also have a single-seater cushion out of the same element because it is completely parametric. So while we get into the tutorial, just watch this video to the end to be able to maximize your learning process in Revit. And it's going to be a simple video, but if you like this video, please just hit the like button, subscribe to this channel for more Revit tips because we make tutorials like this every week. Let's get started. Now to get started, I'm just going to click on the new family templates. So let me change this from this to list. I'm going to go to English metric templates, which is more suitable for me. So I click on that and open it, and then I look for metric furniture. Now here, by default, we have these reference planes, the horizontal and the vertical ones. So if you select any of them, you're going to notice on the property dialog box, you see define origin. And if you also select this, you're going to see the same thing, define origin checked. What that means is that this is the origin of whatever element you're going to be creating in this family editor. We are going to be setting up different reference planes. So I go select reference plane and I make one like this from top to bottom, make the next one this way from top to bottom, and then I go horizontal again and make just like that, keeping in mind what we want to create. And then in order to constrain what we have done, we just have to use dimension to do that. So I select from this point to this point to this point and I call it out. So looking at this point, you're going to see EQ means equal. So if you click on it, you're actually constraining both sides to be equal. And click on EQ. Alright, the whole idea is such that whenever you drag, the other side also moves alongside. Alright, so even here you move it, the other side also moves alongside because they are constrained to be together and to function symmetrically. So the next thing I want to do is to select dimension as well and go to the entire span and call it out. And I do the same on this other side. Now to make this to be parametric, what we have to do is to select this dimension and click on here. You see create parameters and you click on it and we can name it. Let the vertical reference planes control the length. I'm going to call this length, and then let the horizontal control the width. Then I call this width. And then we are going to go to family type, which is here, and click on it, and then this dialog box comes out. So let's move this a bit, or I cancel this out and then I click on it once again. So here let's see whether what we've done is working. So here I'm just going to change the length to maybe 2100 and change the width to 1200, apply. So you could see that it's actually working, and I say okay. Now the next thing I want to do is to go to my front view. So once I click on the front view, you're also going to notice we have the origin reference level, and then we have this also which also defines the origin, and then we have these other weak references which I had created on the reference level. So the next thing I want to set up here will control the height of our geometry. So I go to reference plane once again, and then I make a reference plane just like that. I can call it the height, and I also control the geometry by using dimensions. So I drag this out and I select the dimension and create parameter for it. So I call it height. We can go to family type and see how it's also working out. So this height, let's say 450 millimeters, and click apply so you could see. So I also need to set up some other reference plane which will control other parameters of the geometry. So I say reference plane once again, and at this point I go vertical, or sorry, horizontal one more time, and then I can call this height 2. My dimension also, call it height 2. Then if I go to family type, and height 2 there is 600 millimeters, so let's make it 900 just to see if it's working out well. Alright, that's good. Then I also need to create another reference plane going from vertical up to down, so I'm going to call this locker width. And I also need my dimension. Then I select that. So I go to family type also, and then I have this locker width just to see if it's working as well. Say 150 millimeter, apply, so it's also. Then the next thing is to go ahead and make sketch. So I go back to reference level. Now the sketch could have been made here, but there is nothing much to prove by making it here. So I prefer to make it here, and you will understand why. So here I select extrusion, select rectangle. From this point, I drag it to this point. And don't forget to also lock all in place. You select the line and go to this point and select this line as well to that point. Select the next one to that point. So we can drag this backward. Alright, and hit finish. Touch this arrow here and drag it back and lock this. So touch it, bring it back and lock it in place. And so we have that. Now if we go to 3D to see what we've done, I click on 3D, you see what we've done, but that's actually not exactly what we're looking for. And then with this I can go to reference level and select it, drag it from this arrow to snap to this reference plane on the bottom and lock it in place. Drag it from this and lock it in place. So if you go back to 3D, you see what we've done there. But we need to go back and do some adjustments to make it look better. So we go back to front elevation. Now on this front elevation, I select the geometry and edit extrusion. Here, select this fillet arc. I make a fillet just like that. I can give it 25 degrees and lock it in place. And then I do the same here, but just that here I would likely leave it at 45 degrees and I lock it in place. You hit finish and go back to 3D and see we now have a different shape of it. So we need one more extrusion, which would be mattress on top of this profile. So we go back to front elevation, but before we do that we need to also set up a reference plane for it. So I click on reference plane and then I come from this point to this point. Then I can name it to be mattress height. So mattress. So you pardon me for the spelling, I can check it up later, but for now let's just make do with. I pick dimension, select the dimension and create the parameter name, mattress height, then OK. So I can go to this just to see if it's okay. Select it and label it 150 millimeters, apply. So you could see that there is a trouble there and I know where it's coming from, so I cancel this and click on the dimension, delete it, and I select dimension once again, and the dimension is not actually, the first one wasn't from the reference plane to reference plane, it was from the geometry to reference plane, so that's why it didn't work. So here I select it from reference plane to reference plane. Alright, just for you to know also the possible errors that could occur when doing this. So I go and set it up as M height this time, and you have to rename it M height, okay, and it's 200 millimeters. So I go back to family type and I look for, this is M height, so turn it to 150 millimeters, click apply. So you could see it's working, but I can select this, and by selecting this, delete parameter, say oh, yes, so that is gone and I have the M height as the correct one. So okay, then the next thing is pick extrusion and select this. I start from this point to the very end and I lock it in place. Finish. Then I go back to maybe my reference level, drag it from this arrow to that end and lock it, drag this to that end and also lock it. Then I can go back to 3D and see. Now with this we have gotten the geometry just by two simple extrusions. We have this profile as the first one, then they have the mattress as the second one. Then the next thing is to see if all our parameters are actually working out properly. So first of all, we have the height. If we change this height to 600 millimeters now, you could see that it's working perfectly. So I can turn it back to 450 millimeters. So whichever height you try to check, you would notice for the mattress, let's make it mattress height, let's make it 4 inches as 100 millimeters and apply. So you see that. All right, so that's it for this height here. The height 2 is 900. So let's say I want it to be 750 millimeters. You see it has dropped. So this is the very essence of parametric elements. So the next thing is to go ahead and save it and load it into a project. But first of all, we also need to set up the parameters for the material so that you could be able to change it inside of your project. Now to do that, select this, and if you look at the property panel here, you see material. Right here, if you want the materials to be controlled inside the project, what we need to do right now is to click on this box, all right, associate family parameters, and click on it. So we can set up new parameter for it and call this bed profile. Say OK and click OK, and then for this we can go ahead and call it mattress. Don't mind the spelling. Say OK and you click OK. Now we have this here. Now let's save it. To do that, you go File, Save As, Family, and then we can call this Family Lounge Bed. save. Then the next thing I want to do is to just go to a project and try to load it into the project, and I select this. Now this is a project, so in order not to allow this to confuse me, I can just go to view and close all inactive tabs. So I do that. So I want to load the element into this project. Now I go to architecture component, place a component, and then load family lounge bed. I don't know. Okay, say open. So I place it here, and then I can select it, pick rotate. Then I can pick move and move the edge to this point, or I use the arrow to go left. Then if we go to 3D to see what we've done, and sorry, this is a 3D for our family editor, and I can close it. Now if we go to 3D to see this, of course is not going to appear. So what we will do is to select this, and we select the item. All right, click on selection box. We can select the selection box and expand it just to be able to see what we're doing. So with this now you could see our bed right there, and if we select the bed and I select edit type, so here we could change whatever or adjust whatever we want to adjust. Okay, let's change the length, for example, to maybe 900 millimeters. I have 900 millimeters, and the height to 750 millimeters, and maybe the width 1.2, and click apply. So we have a cushion there instead of a bed, and let's turn it back into maybe 750 millimeters. So we have that, and you say okay. All right, now I go back to level 2, and then maybe move it to the edge of the wall, and go back to 3D. I'll drag this further. So this is what we have there, and if I turn this into shaded, of course is brighter, then we could just adjust the height, maybe 300, apply, so you could see. And then the material can also be adjusted. So we select this and come to edit type. So right here on the bed profile, we could just select it. We can look for wooden materials. So here I say timber. So I have this structural timber joist layer. So I select it, leave it on appearance. But in order to make a selection of what type of timber we need, you click on this. Then look for wood. This is wood. Actually, for more information about how to change materials, I have a video which you are going to see on the card above. You can check out that video after this. Now here I have this cherry. I can select it. It appears here, and I say okay. Then we go to the mattress. So this, I think we will make do with this, but the next thing we actually want to do right now is maybe we will likely change the thickness of the mattress. So here, mattress height is 150 millimeters. We can leave it at 75 millimeters. Apply, say okay. Okay, I think it's actually better like this. And then maybe if you don't like it the way it is, you can also do some more adjustment, or maybe you can make it a single seater cushion, just depending on your choice. So here the width also can be adjusted to maybe 600 millimeters, and you apply, it looks like this. And then height too also can be changed to to 600 and say apply and say okay, and then we have that over there. So, and this is what we have. And if you like this video, actually just go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to this channel for more Revit tips, and this concludes this video. See you in the next video. Thanks for watching.